It's a volume game for many companies. Get as many people through the door as possible that aren't right for the job, and yet there was instructions to employ them anyway. A lot of people moving over from the UK, like you say, they've got, they're leaving their family, their friends, they're potentially selling houses, cars, which I think is, horrendous. You're messing with people's lives. We don't really work like that. Hello and welcome back to another episode of What's the Deal? My name is Jack from Edwards & Towers, and today I am joined by Claire Simpson, our HR and Recruitment Manager. We will be discussing everything in regards to the real estate job. If you're a budding agent out there that feels like they're not getting the right support, we're going to tell you about our processes internally to make sure that all our brokers are as successful as they possibly can be. Claire and I actually share the same surname, although we are absolutely not related. Okay, so Claire, tell me a little bit about your background, how you got to where you are today, and how long you've been in Dubai for.
So my background is originally hospitality and sales, and I came to Dubai in 2020, so nearly 4 years now that I've been here. I actually came to Dubai to be an agent originally, so
okay.
That was interesting.
During the COVID year, right?
Just after COVID, yeah. So it was literally, Dubai was just waking up from COVID. The UK was locked down. We couldn't go anywhere. It was a bit depressing. So I think a lot of people from the UK in particular came over to Dubai during that time period. So I thought, let's try something new. I was a little bit bored on the east coast of Scotland, although it'll always be home. I came to Dubai, was an agent for just under a year. It wasn't quite suited to my personality. So that I think is something important to think about if you're deciding to step into real estate.
Yeah.
It is definitely not suited for everyone. But the people that it is suited to, it is a fantastic career.
Okay, and where were you placed in terms of, were you sales, were you leasing, were you off-plan, it was specific to a community?
Yeah, so I was a marina specialist in leasing.
Okay.
Just coming out of, like I said, the COVID times as well. So it was tough. I do think, gave me a really great insight into the industry, the pros and the cons into the industry as well. So yeah, it's good.
Okay, well, look, I mean, if we rewind to then, the mindset and the mentality of the customers, if you actually focus on your customers as a real estate business, which many don't strategize correctly, it would probably be more important to anybody moving over to focus on villas and townhouses, because the mindset of consumers during COVID was, I need to leave my apartment so I can have more outdoor space in the garden. So, the dog can run around, the kids can run around and play. And that's why we saw a huge demand in villa and townhouses, right?
Yeah.
So if you have a company that is just placing you in an area and saying, this is where we think it's best for you, then I don't think the company is fluid enough to change their business direction to service the customers correctly. So that was one thing that I noticed when I was in 2020, this shift, and I actually moved a lot of agents in 2020 to those areas.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened after that first year? Because everybody talks about this first year in real estate being really important, right? If you get over that line of the first year and you've made it, you've kind of got to just go over the brow of the hill. Yeah,
exactly.
So tell me about what happened then.
So like I said, I decided that it wasn't for me. I think attitude-wise, personality-wise, I wasn't suited to that role. So I'm much more a HR person, a people person. I am a little bit older now, so I think I wanted more security, and I just wanted to take my career in a different direction.
Okay, fair enough.
So that's when I decided to go into recruitment. So I started my recruitment journey. So I've been in recruitment for over 2 years now. I'm here at Edwards & Towers, and now I've taken on HR as well. So I started off as a recruitment manager, and then worked up to HR and recruitment manager.
And you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
So you and Samira, obviously.
Yeah.
So look, I mean, I've hired many agents in my career. I would probably say that I've interviewed, I would say knocking on the door of 500 people now. Many of which I can tell as soon as I meet someone within the first 5 minutes. Now I've kind of honed that skill, whether they're going to be successful or not.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, tell me about the attributes that you think are most important to be a successful broker first.
Okay.
Let's say you've just moved over to Dubai, so your geographical knowledge of the city isn't necessarily as strong as it should be or could be. But tell me about the attributes that you look for in a successful candidate.
I think number one is work ethic. I don't think you're going to get very far in this industry if you don't have a strong work ethic. You have to turn up in time every day and put in the work if you want to be successful.
Yeah.
Personality, this is a sales role, right? So people buy some people. I think, personality is a big one because it's a sales role, right? So people buy from people. So you need to be confident. You need to be confident in what you're selling. You need to be passionate, enthusiastic. So these are the main things that we look for in someone.
So yeah, I completely agree. So knowledge, right? So little story from my career when I first started. So I was from a very corporate background.
Yeah.
So I worked for Property Finder before. So the processes for me were already kind of above most other agents that haven't had that exposure to a corporate industry model, especially in a sales organization. And I used that to then progress my career. So I actually did my first sale on my 4th day, which was an off-plan project. No real estate experience other than I had a good geographical knowledge of the industry.
Yeah.
Geographical knowledge of Dubai rather, and my industry knowledge wasn't actually that great.
Yeah.
And it always makes me laugh because the client's feedback at that time when I did that first deal was that they messaged me after they signed the contract, and they said, "Thank you so much. Your knowledge and reassurance towards this purchase was exemplary, and it really put me and my wife at ease working with you." And I thought it was hilarious because it was my 4th day in real estate. I didn't obviously tell the clients that, but it's all about sales, personability, and likability and professionalism.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
And that's what we portray to our agents. So as a leadership team, we sat down at Edwards and Towers and we were kind of isolated some strategies that we wanted to implement, process being most important, right? Whether it's our HR process now, which is not quite fixed in terms of making it completely streamlined across the whole business, but we're getting there. But in terms of an agent's onboarding, training, and then coaching and development, I mean, tell us about what we've implemented in terms of that process to make the new agents coming into this business feel welcomed and feel like they can go forward into the market confidently to close some deals.
Yeah. Well, to start at the beginning, Edwards and Towers have never had a recruitment team before. So we used to hire on reputation.
Yeah.
So now we are growing the business, as you said. So obviously Samira and I are now the part of the recruitment team at Edwards and Towers. And so with our knowledge and our support, obviously we are bringing people not just from Dubai, but from all over the world. So I think it's very important to have someone there from day one that will help you and guide you through the steps of actually moving to another country. And like I said, not just from another country, but if you're in Dubai already, the steps of coming into a brand new industry that is essentially commission only, right? So
yes.
That's number one biggest thing for people is this is a commission only role. What kind of support, what kind of training, and how am I going to get to where I want to be? So we'll guide you through that step. We'll onboard you. We'll assist you with all the information you need about the move. And we're there for questions at any time. You know, our phones are always on.
Yep.
We're always there. So the onboarding process is very streamlined as well. You come in, first day you start. You're in your induction in the training room. Morgan, who's our training and development manager.
It's great.
Morgan is fantastic. He's got so much energy and he's such an enthusiastic individual. So he will take the agents through their initial training period. before that they're ready. So you'll prep them for the sales floor, essentially. So whether that's here in the Marina Plaza or on the Palm Jumeirah with yourself, or even in the GHE office as well. So he'll be with them, and not just from day one, but also once their initial training period is over, he's always there with the agents, answering questions, helping them get deals over the line, and they're alongside their sales managers. So yeah,
I think that's most important, right? So a little bit of a different model, if you like, is how we're operating. So Morgan is obviously, he does a 2-week training course with the guys to get them up to speed of kind of the basics of the job. But we don't stop there. So we understand, obviously, the problems or challenges that arise in each and every real estate negotiation. Nobody has all of the knowledge immediately, right?
Yeah.
And in all fairness, if you haven't done many negotiations previously, how are you expected to therefore move into a real estate industry and know how to negotiate with effectively multi-million-dollar homes, right? And a lot of those owners of those properties and the buyers run their own businesses and have the negotiation skills which far outweigh an agent that's sat in between both parties.
Yeah.
Okay, so how we, I think, really help our guys is let them create the opportunities and then bring them into the leadership team, whether that's myself or the other sales managers, or even Miles, the MD, or even Mark, the founder, is happy to, still get his hands dirty and help and advise, who's been doing the job for 20 years, right? So if they deliver these opportunities to us, we then kind of steer them correctly on communication, what to say, what actions to take, what information to provide. And a lot of these deals, the smallest little mistake or information that's delivered at a time where maybe it's unnecessary, can make a deal fall down completely. And I've seen that so many times in my experience. What we don't expect is that if somebody's got the passion, the work ethic that you've mentioned, they're personable, they're likable, they will be able to do the job. We also know that just because of that, they'll be hired, but also we're not hiring on negotiation skills. That's something that comes a lot later.
Yeah, we'll teach.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so look, what would you say is the biggest challenge for you as a recruiter when you're speaking to candidates that are also speaking to many other companies? Because it's a really important decision for these people, right? Who to choose and who to go with. And so what would you say stands out for Edwards and Towers over everything else in terms of the candidates that are joining us?
Yeah, I mean, I think everything that you've just talked about with our training and our leadership, I think that makes us stand out. Obviously, with the 20 years experience and Mark still being super involved with the company, he's super knowledgeable, so he's happy to feed that down to the agents. Our training program is fantastic. I think the biggest challenge for recruiters, and not just myself, but probably everybody in the industry, is how competitive it is now. Every day you seem to see a new agency pop up that are flashing, a lot of shiny incentives, and, everyone is kind of on social media now as well with, the best marketing, the best of this, the best of that. So it's trying to overcome these obstacles, or should I call them, or little challenges to really make people see that this is a commission on the law. You don't get many chances in real estate at the start. You get one shot effectively, because people, if they're coming over from other parts of the world, they're coming over with a certain pot of money, right? To support themselves. So I think it's important to make sure that at the start you pick the right company, and that is down to what kind of training are you going to get. Are you getting all the correct visas and documentations? Are your sales managers, are they experienced? How many years of experience do they have? And also speak to the agents in the company as well. Speak to them about their experiences and how they're doing. And you can see for yourself, I mean, a couple of our agents that have not been in the industry for very long at all are already, billing more than they probably were in the UK in a whole year, or where they're from. So
I agree.
Yeah, so even the most financially stable person, if you've got money for a year or two, they're not going to be successful if they don't put in the hard work and they don't see results. That would demotivate you, right? So
yeah, no, I agree. I mean, look, the motivations as an agent is purely to make money, right? If they feel that they're in a company where, I mean, it's competitive externally,
yeah,
but if it's extremely competitive internally as well, it's you're fighting internally and clambering over each other for deals, for example. There's instances in agencies where I've heard where people don't get visas unless they do their first deal.
Yeah.
Which is A, illegal, B, extremely demotivating because it's a legal requirement. How is that an incentive for somebody in a sales organization that, well done, you've done a deal, now we can legally give you a permit to actually be able to work in this country and get a bank account? That blows my mind still.
Yeah.
Similarly, the turnover, okay? So it's a volume game for many companies. Get as many people through the door as possible who can reach out to as many people as possible, and then within that network internally, I'm sure there'll be a couple of opportunities that can convert internally. We don't really work like that. And I remember in my career in particular, there are candidates that come through that aren't right for the job, and yet there was instructions to employ them anyway.
Yeah.
Which I think is, horrendous. You're messing with people's lives. A lot of people moving over from the UK, like you say, they've got, they're leaving their family, their friends, they're potentially selling houses, cars, moving over on the promise that it's easy and the earning potential is sky's the limit. There isn't a ceiling to it. And if you come over, it's granted to you automatically. Yeah. Look, I mean, on the interviews that I hold, I'm very, very transparent with any candidate that comes through. Within the first 5 minutes, I know already if somebody's going to make it or not.
Yeah.
I think, I'm quite, I wouldn't say I'm well known for it, but if you make it past 8 minutes with me, it's going really well. And it's just because I can sense somebody already, especially for me, if they can't make a decision on the company and they then open up in that interview about their decision-making ability. And that is a massive red flag for me, because if they can't make a decision on this, which is an important one for their lives, if they can't decipher that for themselves, then how are they going to decipher and recommend the right property or shortlist the right options for a client who they won their trust?
Yeah.
And when you win somebody's trust, the client often turns around to the agent and say, hey, Jack, what do you think? And then you're making the decision for that client. But if you can't make an important decision immediately in the interview stages, then you're never going to make it as a top broker for me.
Yeah.
Okay, look, so we at Edwards and Towers have obviously provided a huge amount of tools to the agents, right? We literally do so much. I was, she won't mind me mentioning her, but one of our agents yesterday, Katie, was just moved over from leasing. She was doing leasing for 5 months. No direction from us. You can do off-plan sales and leasing at E&T, but she found kind of more traction with leasing, and that's where her attention kind of stayed. So 3 weeks ago, we moved her to sales, and we both worked really hard last night to about, I think the format on her first sale at 4.2 million in Ranches 3 was done at about 25 to 12 last night. So, and I'm over the moon for her because, she's had a little bit of bad luck, and you realize as an agent that the stress and the problems that you face with leasing is exactly the same, if not sometimes worse, than a sale.
Yeah.
But the rewards when you make a sale compared to leasing, obviously, is 10x.
Yeah.
So we don't limit that, which is great. And as long as I think that our strategies are all aligned as a company, that if somebody's working really, really hard and for whatever reason they're not quite getting to where they need to be in terms of making progress or building momentum and earnings, then we will move. Yeah. We're quite fluid with that at the moment, and flexible as a business, which I don't think many are. I think it's rigid. I think it's like, we need to hire in this area, which was what you did in Marina.
Yeah.
You were told you're going to be in Marina leasing when all of the customers wanted villas and townhouses. Now, that's never going to be a successful outcome for an individual. And you moved over from the UK with your life savings,
Yeah.
thinking that, great, here I am, right? And candidates, if anybody's out there looking and they're thinking about their company and who to maybe go with, or even if you're a real estate company now thinking on what they're saying resonates with me, I'm trying everything I can, I'm working really hard, but something's not sticking. If the company or the leadership team aren't willing to move in the direction that's going to benefit that agent, then they're not the right company for you, and they will never change. So I'll ask you another final question. Okay. What is your view on the Dubai real estate market over the next 5 years?
Well, obviously Dubai's still growing massively. There are multiple projects coming up over the next 5 years. The real estate market is still booming. I am still completely influxed with CVs from every part of the world. So people are still very much looking to get part of this, be a part of it and you know, start their career. I don't think it's going to be slowed down anytime soon. And I think it's a really exciting time to be a part of the industry. You know, as you can see, every single day there is another, you know, little company popping up real estate. The numbers that are being shown in all of these the news outlets are crazy on all the portals. And every month it's growing. So yeah, I think, you know, it's going to keep going up from here.
So yeah, of course, interesting point. So with more homes being built across Dubai means more jobs being created in the real estate industry. We're seeing a lot of handovers happen in 25, 26, 27. I talked about that on the other episodes of What's the Deal. So if you are a real estate broker out there who is looking for that extra bit of support to help you reach your financial goals, and yeah, I think Edwards and Towers could be the one for you to help achieve that. If you do want to reach out to Claire, Samira, or myself, obviously it's a confidential conversation to see if this would be a good fit for you, and please do so. Thank you very much again for joining us on an episode of What's the Deal. My name is Jack, and I'll see you again on another one. Thank you.
Bye-bye.